Samuel D. Warren and Louis D. Brandeis. The Right to Privacy was published in the Harvard Law Review in 1890 and is one of the most influential essays in American legal history. The authors introduce the concept of a legal right to privacy, advocating for the protection of individuals' personal lives from unwarranted intrusion. Written during a period of rapid technological and societal change, the essay addresses the ethical and legal challenges posed by advances in photography, mass media, and communication technologies. Warren and Brandeis argue that existing legal doctrines were inadequate to safeguard personal privacy and call for the recognition of privacy as a distinct legal right. Their essay laid the foundation for modern privacy law and continues to shape discussions on privacy in the digital age. Historical context. The essay begins by situating the discussion in its historical and cultural context. Warren and Brandeis note that as society becomes more complex and interconnected, the potential for invasions of privacy increases. Advances in technology, particularly photography and widespread newspaper circulation, made it easier for private lives to be exposed to the public without consent. The authors reference examples of gossip columns and intrusive reporting that violate individuals' dignity. They argue that these developments threaten the right to be let alone, a fundamental aspect of personal freedom. The evolution of legal protections. Warren and Brandeis trace the historical development of legal protections for individuals, noting how the law has evolved to address new challenges: property rights and torts. Early legal protections were primarily concerned with property. The authors note that the law expanded to protect intangible interests, such as intellectual property and contractual rights. The protection of emotions. Over time, the law began to recognize the need to safeguard emotional well-being and human dignity. For example, protections against defamation and breach of confidence were introduced. The need for a right to privacy. Despite these advancements, Warren and Brandeis argue that existing laws were insufficient to address the unique harms caused by invasions of privacy. They advocate for a distinct legal right that protects individuals from the unauthorized publication of private facts. The nature of privacy. The authors define privacy as the right to control one's personal information and the freedom to decide what aspects of one's life should be exposed to others. Privacy, they argue, is essential for personal dignity and autonomy. They emphasize that privacy is not absolute and must be balanced with other interests, such as freedom of speech and the public's right to know. However, they stress that the unauthorized disclosure of private matters, particularly for commercial gain or sensationalism, is unethical and should be legally restricted. Key principles of the right to privacy. The right to be let alone. Warren and Brandeis describe privacy as a natural extension of individual freedom. It encompasses the right to live without unnecessary interference or exposure. Control over personal information. Privacy is closely tied to the individual's ability to control the dissemination of personal details, including thoughts, feelings, and daily activities. Protection from emotional harm. The authors emphasize the psychological and emotional damage that can result from privacy invasions, such as embarrassment, humiliation, or distress. Public versus private interests. While they acknowledge the importance of transparency in matters of public interest, Warren and Brandeis argue that personal privacy should not be sacrificed for trivial or sensational reporting. Applications and examples. Warren and Brandeis provide concrete examples of situations where privacy rights should be upheld. Photography. The essay highlights the misuse of photography, which can capture and disseminate private moments without consent. The authors warn that this technology poses unique challenges to privacy. Mass media. Newspapers and magazines that publish gossip or private details about individuals' lives are singled out as violators of personal dignity. Confidential communications. They advocate for protecting private correspondence and conversations from unauthorized disclosure, particularly in professional settings. Legal foundations of privacy. Warren and Brandeis argue that the right to privacy is grounded in common law principles. They identify several legal doctrines that can serve as the basis for privacy protections. Property rights. While traditional property law focuses on tangible assets, the authors argue that privacy can be understood as a form of intangible property. Defamation. Just as the law protects individuals from false statements, it should also protect against the publication of true but private information. Breach of confidence. The authors note that the law already penalizes the unauthorized disclosure of confidential information in certain contexts, such as professional relationships. They propose that these existing principles be extended and refined to establish a distinct right to privacy. Limitations and exceptions. Warren and Brandeis acknowledge that privacy rights are not absolute and must be balanced against competing interests. Public figures and public interest. They recognize that public figures, such as politicians or celebrities, have a reduced expectation of privacy. Information about these individuals may be disclosed if it serves a legitimate public interest. Freedom of the press. While they support press freedom, the authors argue that it should not extend to the unwarranted invasion of personal lives. Sensationalism and gossip, they contend, do not serve the public good. Consent. Privacy protections should not apply when individuals willingly disclose personal information or consent to its publication. Impact and legacy. The right to privacy had a profound influence on American law and culture. It introduced the concept of privacy as a legal right and laid the groundwork for modern privacy legislation and jurisprudence. Key aspects of the essay's legacy include inspiration for privacy torts. The essay inspired the development of privacy torts, such as intrusion upon seclusion, public disclosure of private facts, and appropriation of likeness. Influence on legal theory. Warren and Brandeis' argument for privacy as an essential human right influenced subsequent legal scholarship and case law. Relevance in the digital age. The essay's themes remain strikingly relevant in today's world, where advancements in technology, surveillance, and data collection pose new challenges to privacy. Issues such as online data breaches, social media exposure, and facial recognition echo the concerns raised by Warren and Brandeis more than a century ago. Themes in the right to privacy. Technological change and legal adaptation. Warren and Brandeis emphasize the need for law to evolve alongside technological advancements to protect individual rights. Balancing rights and interests. The essay explores the tension between individual privacy and societal interests, advocating for a nuanced approach to resolving conflicts. Human dignity and autonomy. At its core, the essay argues that privacy is essential for maintaining personal dignity and autonomy, key components of a free society. Ethics and responsibility. The authors call for ethical behavior in journalism, business, and personal conduct, emphasizing the importance of respecting others' privacy. Writing style and persuasion. Warren and Brandeis' essay is notable for its clarity, rigor, and persuasive tone. The authors combine legal analysis with moral reasoning, appealing to both logic and emotion. Their arguments are grounded in real-world examples, making the essay accessible and compelling. Conclusion. The Right to Privacy by Samuel D. Warren and Louis D. Brandeis is a seminal work that introduced the concept of privacy as a legal right. By addressing the challenges posed by technological and societal changes, the authors laid the foundation for modern privacy law and inspired ongoing debates about the balance between individual rights and public interests. The essay remains a cornerstone of legal and ethical discussions on privacy, offering timeless insights into the importance of safeguarding personal dignity in an increasingly interconnected world.